So I'm starting to work on the molding, the waist molding here, and I'm going to back it up here a little bit so you can see the various pictures. So I've got a template already made, but here's a photograph of the profile here, which is almost to scale. And this is a photograph from Yale, from the back of it, and then I have a third photograph here, which shows the profile as well. So what I did is from the scale one, this one here, this is an inch and 3/16 wide by 1 inch tall, and we'll zoom in here so you can see that profile. And I should be able to make it with hollows and rounds, although this making this round here, that's 5/8 of an inch, that's okay. And then you got a hollow here, which is almost an OG, but this shoulder up here, it's very gradual as it goes down to that, and then of course there's a fillet up there at the top. So we're going to give it a try with the hand tools without making a custom molding plane. So let's see what we can do. Well, Doug Molder came over yesterday to help me out with making the molding, and he has more experience with hollows and rounds than I do. But we made this piece of molding yesterday, one side of it anyway. So these boards are set up so they can be split in two, and I make two pieces of molding on each board. And first what we did was we scribed the pattern on the edge here, and then used a table saw with dado blades to hog out some of the material and create the steps to guide the hollows and rounds on there. So that was the first thing. I'll hold it this way and see if we can see what that looks like. So and the way I did that, of course, was with the cardboard template. So I had the small cardboard template here, and you just hold it on the edge there and then scribed it in both directions. So then we put it in the sticking board here, and we'll hold it in with a screw. And then we used various hollows and rounds. So we need a hollow here. So we use this one, which matched that hollow across these 2 points like this. And with successive passes, we made the hollow. And then we cleaned it up with the scrapers. I have some scrapers here. And so then we have to put the round on the edge here, so with a hollow plane. So we turn this around on edge like so, or like so, and then this has to be rounded over here. So we used hollow planes like so on either side, and then finished up, scraped it off with a scraper and got it smooth. And we used a little bit of you can see here 80 grit sandpaper on the body of a plane without the blade in it to sand over bumps and so forth. So we got it pretty good. And so that didn't take a long time, but there's a number of steps to it. And originally I thought I'd make a custom, rather than go through all the steps with the molding planes, that I'd make a custom plane. So I had an old beater of a custom mold, a dedicated molding blade. It was a lot, or plane. This was a lot wider, and I wasn't using it for anything. Actually, I think I had it given to me. So what I did was take the template that we have here and scribe it onto the, there we go, scribe it onto the bottom of the plane here. I don't know if you can see that or not. There you go. So obviously you don't do all of that in one pass, but I wanted to get the hollow and the round out of there. So you have this notch up here at the top. So I formed that on the plane there and took the blade that was in there and reshaped it to match the curve here, and sharpened it and put it all together. So I cut the body down quite a bit. You could still take a little more off. And so on this piece of molding here, the one side Doug did it and I did it with separate hollows and rounds, and this side was done with the custom molding plane. And to be honest, I can't tell the difference between the two, and it didn't take all that long to do it with the custom molding plane. It took me about 2.5 hours to make it, which means that I probably could have finished this with the hollows and rounds in 2.5 hours. So I didn't gain anything, but I was curious to see if I could make a plane to do it. And there is a point there at which to hold the plane to get the right cut. And you can see we're taking a pretty good shaving here off of the 2 points. So it won't be long, as long as I hold it in the right spot, before we've got our cove and the shoulder at the top. So it works pretty good. So I thought I'd make some more while I was at it. Actually, all that I need is pretty much these 2 pieces for the lower part of the high boy that I'm building, or waist molding. But I thought I'd make some more in case I made a mistake mitering or whatever, so I'll have some more here. So that's the plan. For those of you who like to watch a little molding being made, this is the custom molding plane that I made, and there's a line right here to line up. And you gotta kind of keep it on the line. I wiggled off the line that time. I'm trying to keep it a little steadier until we get a groove going here. There was a straight one. So the top 2 are starting to come together. So at each pass, we're taking a bigger or wider shaving because more and more of the blade fits the shape. keep going till this bottom groove disappears. So now that I've made the molding, I haven't completely cleaned it up yet, but I'm starting to miter it to attach it to the waist here between the lowercase and the uppercase. So we'll zoom in here a little bit on the corner so you can see it. So I have to decide how much I want that round to either stick out above it or be flush with it. And I've decided I want it flush with the edge. Of the pieces that I've been able to see, the two that are at the in Connecticut, the one at Yale, and the Winter Tour one, that it varies. So I suppose over the years these waist moldings may have been off and put back on because they're not consistently applied. Some are back before the edge, some are flush with the edge, some stick out over the edge. So I've decided to make it flush with the edge there. So I got it clamped down. It's mitered on that corner, and there goes the autofocus. I guess I shouldn't pan that fast. And so now I'm going to mark it over here and cut a miter on that edge, which will determine the length across the front, and then I got the two side pieces to miter in. Well, I've got the molding where I want it right now, and so the challenge is to remove it, put some glue on it, and then nail it in place. I've got my 18th century pneumatic nailer, pin nailer, with some 1.25 inch, I think they are 18 gauge brads, and what I've done is I put backer boards behind the molding all the way around, so that when I take it off, then I'll be able to reposition it exactly where I left it at the moment. And it is square right now. I've checked the corners, and it does go straight back, and it's the same length or width front and back. So we're going to give it a shot here. Well, I'm all done with the glue up here of the waist molding to the base. So that concludes the making of the base. So we're all done. It's the molding, of course, is square back, but that gives me the exact measurements now to make the uppercase. Of course, we have to make all the drawers and quarter columns yet, but that's just trim. So we'll be starting with the uppercase next.